Hello everybody, welcome to another weekly review for F45trading.com. This weekly recording is going to be for the week of January 14th to Friday, January 18th, and a look into what could potentially transpire on the Forex markets for the upcoming week here. This again is going to be released to the public, and this will be free information, so I'm going to keep it fairly generic. I'm going to point out a couple of levels for you and some areas to watch for and give you a general overview of where I think the market's going to be headed. If you do want to find out some more information and get detailed setups and analysis and price points that we're working with here and get trade signals and education, then you can go up to our website at f45trading.com and you can check that out. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram right here. So those are our social media sites. And we're going to get into this. I'm going to keep it fairly short today because there are, it's actually a pretty, not, I wouldn't say a quiet week, but there's a couple notable events here on the week that I think we should probably point out here. And then I'm just going to review the US dollar, the Euro USD, Pound USD, US CAD quickly, and crude oil. And I don't think I'm going to venture too far into anything else apart from those until later this week. So just a quick glance at the calendar. Nothing much is coming up for Monday here, and I would just cancel you to double check on your own specific news feed and just double check on the Monday. This isn't showing any information for me today for whatever reason, so just keep an eye on that. That could be a bit suspect. Tuesday coming in, we have some US dollar PPI meeting minutes. Draghi is speaking late New York open, and the Parliament Brexit vote is on, so May is going to have a vote here again, and this is the second vote. They tried to have another one here a little while ago, earlier on in the month, and that one didn't go through, so here's another one. Again, they have a tentative, so all in all, I believe the pound is going to be a little volatile this week regardless, so just wait until this vote gets decided here, and then I believe what they're probably going to do is, this vote is basically they're talking about delaying the Brexit ultimate, the UK leaving the euro, and I think that was slated for the spring here, and they're, I believe, voting on this to push that back. So we'll see what happens there. And then we got an FOMC member speaking Tuesday. So Tuesday, all in all, should be a fairly exciting day. Lots of news events, some strong news coming out of the US, and then Draghi speaking for the euro, and of course the Parliament vote. So Wednesday is going to be a bit all over the place. We have Carney speaking on Wednesday. We have CPI. We have a whole bunch of news events for the cable on Wednesday, and then we have G20 meetings, and we also have Governor Kuroda speaking for the yen late after the day is over Wednesday. So if you are a yen trader, keep that one in mind. We have some more cable news, so basically medium impact news events here on Thursday. And then going into Friday, we've got some more cable news, some Canadian dollar, and lots of Canadian dollar news here, basically medium impact to high impact news, and then a couple more FOMC members speaking for the U.S. So all in all, for the U.S., it's quiet other than Tuesday. The cable is going to probably see a lot of push around this week, so be cautious on that one. And we've got a couple of potential good movements, news events there for the euro to push things around a little bit. So that's what I'll be watching for here. And then again, the Canadian dollar on Wednesday. So diving into the charts quickly. As you can see, I had this area labeled here last week. We came down and pushed through that nicely. I was kind of hoping for a continuation down above this, below this low at 94.45 to finish off last week, which you can see we obviously, this was Wednesday's candle, and then Thursday and Friday slightly pushed up a little bit, and now we're back into the resistance level of this small area in here. What I'm anticipating on seeing is price continuing to the downside. Now, don't be surprised, again, while the U.S. is still batting this ball back to China, and they're going back and forth on the tariffs and everything else, that price doesn't just go straight sideways for the next little while until they get something figured out. That coupled with a ton of other news with the U.S. right now. Obviously, the U.S. is they've shut down their government, and there's definitely some interesting things happening in the U.S. currently. There's a bit of a struggle politically right now between the House and the Senate, and et cetera, et cetera. It's an ongoing story. It's never going to end. But just keep in mind, we have seen a little bit of a slide to start out this month here. I am anticipating that slide to continue. But they may want to, again, just bounce price a little bit sideways here before they decide to break this low. What I wouldn't like to see, I don't necessarily want to see them run much higher than what they currently have. I'd like to start to see, I'll zoom in here, that this area right in here starts to act as our resistance level, and we see price slide off. What could happen, we could see if they do want to move price up, we could see price move all the way up to 95.60 level. But I wouldn't anticipate on going much higher than that. If we do break through that level there, then I'll be looking for them to try to run above here. But I believe that this slide right here, they've come all the way down here, and for them not to come down and swing underneath this low here, I'd be a little bit surprised. And quite frankly, you take a quick fib from the lows to the highs, two relatively equal highs up here. We're coming down. We just touched off that 72% retracement level. But I would be looking for them to slide it a little bit deeper, at least just to run the stops underneath here, and then potentially seeing price start to run the other way. But we'll have to wait until that happens. I do have a few other areas labeled underneath the chart here. So we got the 94.45 level, which is, I believe, the target for the week, and then an extension potentially down to 93.95 for the low of this week to occur. And I don't think we're going to get much lower than that this week, and then maybe into next week. And this could be a longer term horizon, but I do have this 93.15 level on my chart here that I think they ultimately want to gun for. I could be wrong on this one here. This is a bit far outlook. It could be a bit of a stretch, but they do have some relatively similar areas of confluence under the market here that they may want to come and grab. And if you look underneath this low here and potentially look at a about a 20 pip stop run underneath there, that would take you sort of right about that 93.15 level, and maybe 9300 just for good measure to sink it down and then reverse it. We'll see what happens. We're not there yet, but I kind of feel like that could be where we're working towards. And that's if 95.60 does not get broken to the upside. If 95.60 gets broken to the upside this week, then I wouldn't anticipate them coming down and hitting any of these lows anytime soon. So just keep an eye on that. But I kind of like where we're at right now. We might see a little bit of a stretch higher and then price roll over, but ultimately I would really like them to have sort of hit the high last Friday, and then price just starts to kind of fall off where we're at. So with that theme in mind, if we go over to the Euro USD, we'll have a peek at this real quickly. Price worked perfectly for us last week. Obviously, we had price open up and it expanded higher. I mentioned, I believe on my live recording, that I was looking for that 11500 level to get ran. It did that quite nicely, and it actually ran up to the 115.55 level, just a little bit higher actually to 115 on this feed, 68, and then rejected. And that's actually exactly what I was calling for. I was calling for a run above 11500. It went admittedly about 40 pips deeper than what I had thought it was going to go. But ultimately, this is exactly what I had anticipated seeing, a run above and then a short sell much, much lower. And you can see from this, we've obviously had a 100 pip run so far to the downside. So, going forward, there certainly is some areas lower on the, and just let me get rid of this guy here because we don't need that. This was just some levels from last week that I was talking about. Clear that out of there. But ultimately, if we do see that decline on the dollar, we should see the corresponding move higher on Euro USD. I've labeled a couple of areas in here of interest. 117.20, big stretch. That stretch up there would be like the US dollar stretching down here. May not happen anytime soon. We're a good couple hundred pips away from there now, 300 pips away from there now. So I don't see us reaching that this week. Maybe next week, maybe the week after, maybe the close of January, I might see price up around there. There's a whole lot of area to cover, and it's not going to be a straight shot up there. Now, going forward, this week opening up, you can see we're seeing some strength so far on the euro. Sunday's candle has opened up, and that's what you're seeing right here. To be honest with you, if we do see a bit of a push higher into the dollar up to 95.60, then we could see a run just slightly below this low under here. I'm going to put a price tag on that just to keep an eye on it. I wouldn't necessarily suspect that price is going to dip much lower than this level here, but it is something to keep on your radar screen that potentially could be a possibility if they decide to hit some resistance up in here and sink it a bit lower. Don't see them going much lower than that. Like 11400 would kind of be my line in the sand. I don't want to see them try to get down below here or anything like that. If they're going to continue on this bullish activity, they should probably start to support price somewhere at current location. But I'll be watching price to open up here on the week. So far, I'm going to hold off my positions. I'd like to see if they want to come down a little bit more, but we could also see price just start to run from here. So if we see price struggling to get above 114.80, then I kind of feel like, or even if it's struggling to get up to 11500 even, then we could see price start to roll over a little bit. So if price kind of does one of these and then starts to struggle, then what we could see is then a return back down to here, where I would anticipate some type of support in this level, and then we could see something like that. I'm not going to call this exact move. I don't know if it's going to break out that way, but I want to see how the Monday candle goes, and then I'll probably be looking at entering into something for Tuesday's London Open. So going into the pound dollar or cable, again, this one's a little muddier. We do see this nice trough being formed here to the upside, bullish activity. Definitely not as clear as what the Euro USD. If you look at the Euro, nice movement higher. The pound has sort of just been really just slowly working its way higher. Chop, 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 chop. One big down day here a couple weeks ago, and then we saw price basically go sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4 days while they were moving the Euro higher, and then we finally saw it pop up on Friday there. So again, same type of idea as the Euro. If the US dollar is going to be pushed down, then this should by default drag the pound dollar up. And we do have a few levels on the chart here that I will note, and one being a very, very far outlook at 130.75. If I can get it on the chart, that's fine there too. 130.80 is fine. You get the idea. That would be a far out sort of, like I say, 2, maybe 3 week horizon. That again would be about just under 200 pips, a little over 2. Try my math here today. A little under 200 pips away. No, a little over. It's about 230 pips. Wow, my math is struggling today. Sorry guys, it's the end of the day. Been a long weekend for me. I'm going to get back into it and improve my math skills for tomorrow. Anyway, so on that note, I do believe we are going to push higher. But keep in mind, we do have all of that stuff going on, that tentative vote set up for the UK Parliament on Brexit, and that could definitely start to push price around. I'll be honest with you, I'm going to stay out of cable this week just until all of this hoopla sort of settles down a little bit. Maybe towards the end of the week, after the vote happens and Carney comes in on Wednesday and speaks. Maybe into Thursday there could be a good setup that I'll be looking at, but I don't believe I'm going to take part in anything on the cable until all that settles down. So, but with that being said, going into this and looking at the chart, as long as I think we don't see a breakdown below this area right in here, and price sort of stays above this, I don't see why this would continue to the downside, and we should see price continue to run higher. What we could see on the open is, on this vote, price do something like this. They could drop it down into here, somewhere around this level right here. Call it 128 even, 12800. Drop it down to that level, and then maybe potentially stretch higher into later on in the week. So I'll be watching for that. But like I say, I'm going to be very cautious on cable. If I do take any position, I'm definitely going to be deleveraged, and I'm going to just sort of wait until after that Tuesday vote has occurred. Okay. U.S. CAD, we saw that big price decline on U.S. CAD, only for it to come right down to roughly that level that I was looking at. You see this blue line right in here? I was actually thinking more so about 132, about 132.15 was where I kind of had put my area of interest in last week. And just a lot of confluence at that area. You can see where all of these wick highs and everything along the line here have, and prices really traded in that level quite a bit over this time frame here from summer of last year. That area had my interest, and you can see price, it came down once, twice, 3 times, failed to go lower, and then now we're starting to climb back up. Now, I'm going to be careful on the U.S. CAD. They did have an interest rate decision, and they decided to hold off on increasing rates. So what we could see is price continue to climb higher. Now again, this is in unison, and it runs typically in tandem with what the US dollar is doing. So you can see the US dollar had a nice run up into here, and then a big decline since early December. US CAD has seen a similar increase since September and no decline in December, and only just as of late, like end of December, we saw price falling off. So that could just be matching that decline in the US dollar, price rebalancing down here, and we could see this thing just kind of move sideways in unison with the US dollar. It's kind of what I'm predicting. But if the US dollar does fall off and starts to again run for these guys down here, then the US CAD should get drugged down along with it. However, again, if the U.S. dollar does show any signs of strength, the Canadian dollar halted on their interest rate rise. So this thing will easily go higher. And it's going to be a lot easier for it to go higher, in my opinion, than it is for it to go lower. So just keep that in mind. If you're thinking about shorting this, be very cautious. I would not want to be taking a position. So price is currently at 132.75. I don't want to see it go back. In my opinion, I don't think we need to go back and revisit this blue line here at 132.15. If price does go trade lower than that, that means the US dollar is going to be sinking, which means this is probably going to end up rolling over. But for now, for the start of the week, until we get all that news on the Canadian dollar on Friday, I think they're probably going to prop this up, and they may do a little bit of a retracement on this guy. And I'm just going to switch my fib over here and see potential areas for reversal on this guy. And I'm not going to do the wicks, but these 3 areas in here kind of grab my attention, and more so the 72 to 79%. So we could easily see something like this occur, and then if the US dollar decides to slide, we could see lower prices in the US CAD, but we won't know that obviously until this month kind of gets a little more mature in its trading. So last thing real quick, I want to talk about crude oil. For all of our members watching this, just FYI, I'll go into detail on the yen, I'll go into detail on the Aussie, and Euro GBP and some other stuff for you guys. So I just want to make this a general overview for the week, and I want to just kind of talk about crude oil quickly. Crude, obviously, as you can see, had a real nice pop up here to start off early December. It's starting to cool off. We just, and I believe it's an exact equal high, or sorry, it just took out the high from here at 53.23 on this candle, and this candle from Friday was 53.28, so it just took it out by about 5 ticks, and now we're starting to see some sell-off. I like the sell-off. I want this price to come down. It's, in my opinion, this is the surge before the retracement, and we should see another big surge on this. I'm going to put a fib real quick from low to high. Potential areas for a price to come back down to. Again, the 79% retracement level, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 equal lows down in here, and I can put this on a 4-hour time frame and really show you here. These levels right down in here, that 79% retracement level is very close to coming down to, and if I move it up to here, it gives you kind of a better idea. very close to these equal lows down here. I'm going to put this on the chart. I don't think there's, I mean, there is a possibility that they could come back for those. This big explosive price up in here, it's a big move. So I'm not buying into anything yet. I'm going to wait and watch. And the levels that I'm going to watch are right here, and right here. And I got a price tag on the last one in here. But these are the three levels I'm going to be watching price. And you can do your own analysis on this, but I want to see what happens when price comes down to these levels here. If I see any hesitation, I'll probably be looking at going long on it. I don't believe this is going to be a short and prices are going to come lower than here. OPEC's pushing price up. They're reducing supply and or production, I'm sorry, and that's going to start decreasing, putting strains on supply, so it should start to bring the price up a little bit. But again, I want to see a bit of a decline. I was saying that all up in here. I'm not buying. I want to wait for price to hit the high, to come back down, and then this is where you get your confirmations, and then your assurance is basically that we're going to start seeing prices push much, much higher. So I want to see how deep they want to retrace this thing, and then we'll look at getting some longs from there. So those are the levels I'm looking at. I'll be watching that this week, and hopefully it happens sooner rather than later, because I like this market and the potential on this guy and what we could see. So that's it. I hope you guys have a great week of trading. Again, if you are a member of F45 Trading, we will be doing detailed analysis. We'll be doing trade setups, and we'll be doing several more markets this week for all of our members. If you are not a member, I hope this video helped you out a lot. If you want to check out some of that stuff, then go to our website at f45trading.com, and there's a whole bunch of options there for you. And I appreciate this as well if you're watching this. And if you could, just do me a real quick favor and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Leave a comment if this was helpful, or if you'd like to see anything else on here. Hopefully I've appealed to some of you and helped out your trading a little bit with this analysis. Have a great week, and we will catch up to you for the next pre-recorded session next Sunday. Thanks, guys.